on Gil Mesh.
Well, Gil, basically, Ryan's going to have to just keep his stamina together and try to get a lot of first pitch strikes and really not spend a lot of time on the mound. They had those fatigue issues earlier in his last outing. And so just right now, I guess one thing, too, to go along with that would be
Cabrera up the right field line, so he's going to open tonight like he did last night with a double. So a runner at second with nobody out.
So we talked a little bit about run support and how much he was getting and wasn't getting. So you can see that he's been that one guy on the staff that doesn't get a lot of run support. So he's got to really try to keep the score down.
Here's the Royals defense. It'll be DeJesus, Crisp, and Guillen in the outfield with Mark Tien, and Mike Aviles, after missing 4 games, is back in there with Callasco and Butler, and John Buck is behind the plate. And now Grady Sizemore. Last night, after Cabrera's leadoff double, Sizemore flied out to deep center field, taking Coco Crisp to the warning track, and that was plenty deep for Cabrera to tag and go to third, and then Martinez got him home. I was wondering if he would do that. Grady Sizemore 0 for his last 12. He's hitting .215, and when you have numbers that low, you want to do anything you can to help the team.
Well, the good thing about him is he's got speed, so if he gets a good bunt down, he not only can advance that runner, but he can also get a base hit out of it. And he's batting second right now because he has the ability to pull the ball, and Eric Wedge wants to take advantage of that.
Very late on the fastball. Last year, Grady Sizemore had a 30-30 season. A combination of 30 home runs, 30 stolen bases. He won a Gold Glove. Regarded as one of the best all-around players in the American League, but in 163 at-bats this year, hitting .215. Still 0-2. And as we talked about last night, it was game 40 for the Indians last night. It's game 40 for the Royals tonight. And I think you officially go from early in the season to it's no longer early. We're at the 1/4 mark.
Yeah, you got to get it going now. I mean, the at-bats mount. The points don't go up as rapidly as they did 50 at-bats ago. So you're going to have to really, sometimes it takes 2 hits to get 1 point to go up in your average as you get deeper into the season. You know, one thing about Grady, though, even though he's hit .215, you look at his numbers, and he's second on the team in RBI with 25, second in home runs with 7, and second in stolen bases. He's tied for second in stolen bases with 6. The only negative is he's been caught 6 times.
2 balls, 2 strikes. And the stat that has really hurt him, strikeouts 42, which is the 5th most in the league, and that's a big number for your normal leadoff man. Cabrera opened the game with a double up the right field line. And Sizemore battling Mesh. It's still 2-2. Another great night in Kansas City. And our temperature at first pitch, 76 degrees. We started on time at 7:10. Official time and temp presented by the parking spot. Easy to spot, easy to park. The parking spot at KCI. And another 2-2. And Sizemore has fouled off 4 in this plate appearance. Last night, Sizemore batting second for the first time since 2007. We talked about that last night. The Indians tried to experiment moving him down in the order. They reacquired longtime Indian Kenny Lofton for the stretch run into the playoffs, but that didn't last very long. That'll also land in the seats, and the Indians just figured, well, Grady Sizemore's best spot is the leadoff position, so he batted there last year and Eric Wedge trying to jumpstart this offense, moving him down as Drupal Cabrera swinging the hot bat. He leads off. Strikeout number 43 this year for Sizemore. He does not advance Cabrera, and a big out for Mesh in the first inning.
These are always big outs right here. Gil Mesh really gets that curveball going down, and Sizemore really swung over the ball, just really not seeing the ball. Long swing, and it really just didn't get his eyes down on that ball at all. That's why it's good to go ahead and sacrifice that guy to third base. And when you're struggling, it doesn't count as an at-bat, and you might even get a base hit out of it.
And now Victor Martinez, and you may have noticed on that last shot, Mike Aviles letting Gil Mesh know that he was playing right behind the bag. The Royals shifted way over to the right for Martinez, who hits it to the opposite field and foul.
Well, they had that shift on him last night, and he hit a ground ball to Mark Tien at third base, so he may be purposely, trying to get the ball over there. So this is Michael Aviles is, letting Gil know where he's going to be playing. But, when that ball is hit, it's going to take a lot of quick thinking on Gil Mesh's part to get out of the way and not try to make that play.
Callaspo out in shallow right field. Back to Mesh. Double play. So Aviles ends up being like a first baseman with the stretch, keeping that throw from going into right field, and Gil gets around a leadoff double. Here's the Royals batting order tonight, presented by M&I Bank. So with the right-hander on the mound, Jacobs goes back to the number 4 position. Jose Guillen will hit 5th. David DeJesus batted 8th last night. He'll hit 7th, with John Buck and Mike Aviles returning to the lineup. And the Royals facing 25-year-old Fausto Carmona. And here's a little more on him, brought to you by Kia.
Well, an 8.74 ERA in the last 2 starts speaks volumes. He's got over 5 ERA, so the Royals must be patient with him. He's a sinker baller. Make him get the ball up.
Now that 8.74 ERA in his last 2 starts against the Royals is notable because he began his career 4-0 against KC. The Royals are doing next to nothing against him, but have really turned that around in the last 2 starts. The Royals beating him here on April the 13th. Carmona going just 5 innings, giving up 4 walks, 4 earned runs. Royals won the game 4-2. Coco 0 for 4 last night, now 0 for his last 7. Two and 1. Carmona's last start was a victory, but you almost have to put a little asterisk next to it because he had a 9-0 lead going into the 6th inning and could not finish the 6th. He had to be removed. You talk about putting a strain on your bullpen on a night when Eric Wedge is going, well, this should be easy. My starter should go 7, 8, maybe go the distance. But with a 9-0 lead, they had to pull him out because he got into trouble. He ended up going long enough for the win, and the Indians pulled it out 11-7, but that's not what the Tribe was hoping for. 3 and 1.
Well, you always worry about pitchers when they get a big lead. Can they pitch with it? Do they keep their concentration, their composure? And a lot of times they don't. And that's what, like you said, about managers going nuts because they figure this is a day off for their bullpen. Yeah, you want your guys to be able to pitch in that situation.
And a leadoff walk, and walks have been a problem for Carmona. He leads the American League, and that is his 27th. So leadoff man on, and we visit with Joel Goldberg.
Well, what a night it was last night, and we talk about the players. How about hitting coach Kevin Seitzer? He told me before the game he felt like during the game he was on his deathbed. I guess Cliff Lee can do that to a hitting coach and a bunch of hitters. He said he went from that to being more excited and more amped up and have more adrenaline than he has ever had at the end of any game. The only thing he said that compared to it was when his 1997 Indians team in his last year won in 11 innings over Baltimore in game to go to the World Series. But he said there were 3 at-bats, Tien, DeJesus, and Bloomquist, where he yelled so loud that he was coughing for 3 hours straight after the game. But a very happy Kevin Seitzer, guys.
All right, Joel, and Seitz agreed before the game that he was delightfully surprised, like the rest of us, that Miguel Olivo was taking all the way on a 3-1 pitch. Now, we thought, getting back to him being an emotional player and a chance to hit a 3rd consecutive home run for the Royals, that he would be all amped up for that pitch and try and hit it onto I-70.
Well, that was a situation where I just saw him relax his bat on his shoulder, and my eyes got big, and I said, way to go. You know, he recognized that Kerry Wood command wasn't where it should be, and he was going to take him to the wall, and I thought that was just an outstanding at bat.
Well, Fausto Carmona's first pitch was a strike, and now he's missed with 6 in a row.
Well, he's not missing by much, but he's missing off the corner. The sinker's really not turning over. It's sort of sliding off the outside edge of the plate, and Coco Chris did a great job making him throw strikes, and Alberto Castro's doing the same thing.
And now it's 3-0.
That's where the adjustment has to be made. He's got a real nice sinker. It really goes down the way, but when you throw it to the outside, it ends up outside. So he needs to get back to throwing it in the middle of the plate and letting it run off the corner, and then might get some guys to chase it. But right now it's a ball right out of his hand, and the Raws aren't even offering at him.
3-1. Been a roller coaster ride for Carmona. In 06 he was 1-10, pitching mostly out of the bullpen, and in one stretch he had 4 losses himself in 7 days. That's another walk, and his league leading 28th of the year. But after that year, the Indians moved him into the rotation, and he goes 19-8 with an ERA just over 3. The Indians were 1 game away from the World Series that year. He got a 4-year contract extension after that 19-8 season. But then last year, he had a losing record, and he has more losses than wins since that one good season. So you gamble and you think, you know, maybe we have something special here when a guy wins 19 games in the big leagues. You give him a 4-year contract, but he is 10 and 11 since. Here's the Indians' defense tonight, and they are important with a sinker ball pitcher. Mark DeRosa moves out to the outfield tonight. Johnny Peralta is at third, Jamie Carroll at second, Ryan Garco at first. So 3 new infielders tonight, with Victor Martinez moving from first to behind the plate. So an opportunity right away for the Royals with 2 on, nobody out, and Billy Butler at the plate.
Well, the way things have been going for Gil Mesh, it would be huge if the Royals could put a couple runs on the board here and give Mesh some confidence that he can go out and it doesn't have to be too fine. Just go out and pitch his game.
And we showed you on that Kia scouting report for Gil Mesh that in his 8 starts this year, 6 out of the 8, the Royals have scored 3 runs or less while he has been in the game. 6 out of 8, 3 runs or less. That was a big problem for Gil 2 years ago when he had the lowest run support of any American League starter. And the Royals picked him up last season. And now it's 2-0. So Fausto Carmona has thrown 12 pitches, 2 strikes.
You know, another thing that Carmona has done too, Ryan, is he really hasn't gone to another pitch. He's still throwing a sinker, which gives you a lot of movement, but he's also got a slider that he can throw. So it may be time to just change the pitch selection. Maybe he can get a strike with that.
I don't think Carmona and the Indians are completely satisfied with the strike zone so far, but can't blame all of this on Darrell Cousins. I mean, you're going to have to prove that you can throw strikes consistently. He gets the call there. Darrell Cousins has been around for a while, and it seems like some of the more experienced umpires, they're not going to give you any gifts. They'll help you out once you prove you can throw strikes, but before then you got to start throwing some strikes.
And you have to establish something. First you got to find out what pitches are you going to call. Is it going to be the low ball, the high ball, out on the corner? How far up the corner can you go? And once you figure all that out, you just got to be consistent in that zone.
And that happens so often with a sinker ball pitcher, and Billy fouls it off of his foot. He already has a big shin guard on his left leg.
Well, that's why they wear those shin guards. There's that 2-seam grip right across the seams, and that ball just going to really dive in on Billy's hands. And he hit over the top of the ball and came right down on top of that ankle.
What are the chances that Carmona throws a sinker down and in on this 2-2 pitch?
Well, yeah, that's all he's thrown. He hasn't thrown a slider or anything else, so you have to look for it again.
And Billy right to Carroll at second base. And even though Carroll double clutched, an easy double play. So Coco to third and 2 down. So Mike Jacobs to the plate, and we'll look at tonight's league leaders, brought to you by your Kansas City area Toyota dealers. Most home runs the last 10 days in the American League. And Mike Jacobs tied with 3 others, trailing Mark Teixeira, who is starting to warm up after a slow month and a half for the Yankees. Alex Rodriguez has homered in 4 consecutive games. Mike Jacobs hit his first home run as a Royal against Fausto Carmona, and you and I, right before he hit it, predicted that this might be the right guy for him, the way Carmona's style is and the way Jacobs' swing is.
Yeah, sinker ballers are really just in line with his swing. He just got to make sure the sinker stays middle in and not off the outside corner. Right now, Carmona's just throwing it's a ball right out of his hand.
And here is that home run back on April the 13th. He has hit 8 since, including 1 last night, getting the Royals going in that 4-run bottom of the 9th. All the Royals need here is a single to get Chris in from third. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Both teams with opportunities in the first inning. as Drupal Cabrera led off the game with a double on the second pitch, just like he did last night. The Indians couldn't get him home, and Carmona inviting the Royals here in the first inning with back-to-back walks, but then was able to get Billy Butler to hit into a double play. And now Jacobs reaches out to stay alive. It's still 1-2.
Yeah, Mike has done a better job on fastballs away. He tried to extend his arms a little bit and try to foul the balls off. Fouled out a couple of real tough running fastballs off Kerry Wood last night until Kerry made a mistake and gave him his pitch, and that's where the home run came from.
A slight shift on the infield over to the right. Cabrera guarding the middle. Just missed the outside. So a 20-pitch first inning for Fausto Carmona. I asked Trey Hillman before the game. We discussed this after the game last night, Frank. Is Mike Jacobs the emotional leader of this team? And Trey agreed. He is one of the emotional leaders and felt like Willie Bloomquist was the other.
You know, we've had instances where that sort of spread to other guys. You know, John Buck, when he's in the game, you know, the emotion he shows after a big hit, and when he's rooting for the guys on the bench. Miguel Oliva, you know, the way he goes about it. So I think last night, the way they won that game last night, I mean, I thought all 25 guys were emotional. It just brings out the best in you right there. But you always need one guy to stay focused all the time. And, you know, being a DH, it's good to be that leader on the bench, but you also need a leader on the field.
So Carmona gets around his 2 walks. Royals scoreless in the first. Brought to you tonight by Budweiser Select, full flavor, 99 calories, the exception to the rule. And by Canon and the all-new Rebel T1i, now shooting in full HD video, inspired by Canon. Let's paint ourselves in fluorescent orange. Okay. 0-2 on Shin-Soo Choo. See, now it's getting on the close. Good luck eating later tonight. I guess there'll be no hot dogs or nachos.
What do you bet they don't do their own laundry?
A lot. Of course, that guy's got a Batman belt buckle. And he has stolen Elton John's sunglasses. One hop to Avila, so his first place. It's coming back and retires Shin-Soo Choo. One down in the second inning. The Big 12 baseball tournament began today in Oklahoma City. On Sunday, Royals viewers can watch the Big 12 championship on an alternate channel or on Fox Sports Kansas City after the Royals game. To find the channel number for your area, go to foxsports.com/Kansas City. Here's some results from today. K-State over KU, Baylor over A&M, MU beating A&M. Johnny Peralta singles to center field with one out. Peralta not in the lineup last night after a slow start, and then re-enters the lineup at third base. As Drupal Cabrera has been strong at the plate and has much better range at shortstop. So 1 on, 1 out, and now Ryan Garko also not in there last night. And Gill's curveball is in for a strike. Gill gave up a double to Asdrubal Cabrera on the second pitch of the game, but Cabrera never did reach third base as Grady Sizemore struck out, and then Victor Martinez lined into a double play.
Well, Ryan Garko's a high fastball hitter. Gill's a high fastball pitcher, so it'll be interesting to see how they approach him in this at bat.
Skied to center. And Coco with the play. 2 down. Peralta back to first base. Well, Frank talked about fatigue in regard to Gil Mesh, and in his last start took the loss. That was Thursday against Baltimore, just 4 1/3 innings, and he was good for the first 4. Gave up just 1 run on 3 hits, and then he was hit in the 5th. Didn't make it out of the 5th. The Orioles rally beginning with a walk to Felix Pie, who was only hitting 200 at the time, and Gil only going 87 pitches. This is his second start against Cleveland. He took the loss against the Tribe back on April the 23rd, but pitched an outstanding game. At one point retired 16 in a row and then was removed in the 8th inning. Runs charged to him after he departed. Grady Sizemore hit a big 3-run home run off of Ron Mayhay. Mark DeRosa 1 for 4 last night. Great pitch on the outside, 1-2.
Well, Gill really looks to be throwing the ball well. Like it's coming out of his hand. This is a 2-seamer that caught the outside corner like a backdoor 2-seamer. That's a tough pitch right there for a right-hander. They're going to give up on that pitch, and he can steal that pitch anytime he wants right there.
John Buck looking down at third. Johnny Peralta has 0 stolen bases in 0 attempts.
Now, we looked at this Indians lineup when they came through the first time. We said, well, this is a lineup that can hit. This is a lineup that scored a bunch of runs last year, and we thought that they would turn this around, but they've kind of gone backwards a little bit as an offense.
Another strikeout for Gill, both on the curveball. He got Sizemore in the first and gets DeRosa in the second. he's gotten a double play and he has struck out 2. And the Royals back to work in the bottom of the second against Fausto Carmona with Jose Guillen, Mark Teahen, and David DeJesus coming up. Great opportunity for the Royals in the first. Coco Crisp walked. Alberto Callaspo walked. But Carmona with his sinker was able to get Billy Butler to roll into a double play, and then Carmona struck out Mike Jacobs. It's 1-1 on Guillen. 2 hits and an RBI last night. The middle of the Royals order, Butler, Jacobs, Guillen, and Teahen all had 2 hits. Another foul ball off the foot. 1-2. Last night with the tough lefty Cliff Lee on the mound, Trey Hillman went with Butler, Guillen, stacking a couple of right-hand batters together in the 3rd and 4th spot, but with the righty on there, splitting up the 2 righties with Jacobs. And a 94-mile-an-hour sinker is cut on and missed, and Carmona has struck out his second.
Well, this pitch here, just right off the fingertips, you can see this sinker. You see the split in the fingers right on the seams, and see how that ball just really dove down underneath Jose Guillen's bat. If he stays right there, Ryan, he's going to be pretty tough the rest of the way with that sinker.
Outside to Mark Teahen. His 2 hits, an RBI double early in the game in the second, and then hit the second of the back-to-back home runs with Mike Jacobs in the 9th. That made it a 1-run game. That's the split sinker from Carmona, and it's 1-1. Got all kinds of sinkers.
You can see the separation of the fingers that makes it a split finger. It goes in and acts just like the sinker, but only a few miles an hour slower. It's about 86 miles an hour, and the fastball's up around 93, 94.
Three and 1. Carmona, they say, was the rare exception to the rule that when he was a minor leaguer, they thought he pitched too much to contact. That he understood at a very young age the importance of minimizing pitches, using the defense. The bouncer to Carroll, and 2 down in the second inning. So that wasn't something he had to learn because of difficulty at the major league level. He knew in the minor leagues the importance of keeping the pitch count down. And now David DeJesus. It was his triple with 1 out in the 9th inning last night that scored pinch runner Mitch Meyer to tie it, and then scored the game winner on Willie Bloomquist's sacrifice fly. David, along with that triple, also had a sacrifice bunt last night. Two no.
I think this is one of the areas that David has really made an adjustment at, is when he's ahead in the count, getting a good pitch to hit, and if the ball is middle in, usually about waist high, usually turns on that ball pretty good. Last night he turned on a fastball from Kerry Wood, and we've seen him take that middle in fastball and drive it down the right field corner.
3-0. Well, the exciting walk-off homer that he had last year against Brandon Morrow of the Seattle Mariners. I mean, there aren't many guys in the league that throw harder than he does, and he got around on that one. Hit that into the bullpen. Third walk for Carmona in his 29th of the year. So runner at first with 2 away, and John Buck coming up. Buck not in there last night. Miguel Olivo was 1 out of 3 with an important walk in the 9th inning, which resulted in the game tying run. Mitch Meyer running for him. Showed you at the top of the broadcast that John Buck has the most RBIs coming from behind RBIs. He has 4, and his last one was on Sunday in the 8th inning, hitting a triple, and the Royals coming back and beating the Baltimore Orioles and splitting the 4-game series. There's a rare breaking ball from Carmona. It's 1-0. Gil Mesh on the mound, but apparently this year, John Buck catching Gil Mesh does not require John shaving his head. Remember that?
I remember that.
1 ball, 1 strike. He has a short haircut now, but when he shaved his head the first time, he had long hair going. It back of his hair was getting close to the bottom of his neck, top of his shoulders. Two and one.
Well, Kevin's really got to be happy about the way the raw hitters are working the count. They're working deep counts. Carmona's pitch count is really getting up there, and the rate he's going, the 5th inning, he's going to be in that area where Eric Wedge is thinking about taking him out of the ball game if he doesn't have a couple of quick innings.
Cabrera, and they get the force at second base to end the inning. 2 in the books at Kauffman Stadium. Royals and Indians, no score. Tonight's You Call It, presented by Sprint. What is the Royals' best win in 09? Was it avoiding the sweep here on April the 12th and beating the Yankees? An extra inning win in Minnesota, a game the Royals don't ever win at the Metrodome, but they did and took 2 out of 3. They came from behind twice after being down by 4 and beat the White Sox here in extra innings on May the 5th, or last night 6-5, getting 4 in the bottom of the 9th. What do you think? Text 432-432. Enter keyword Royals, then a space, and your answer. Standard text rates apply. 1-1 on Ben Francisco. Hitless in 4 trips last night. He did have a walk and a run scored. Hill misses the outside corner. 2-1. 3-1. Tien handles a tough hop and throws out Francisco, who once again hits the ball hard but out against the Royals. Here's the Roadrunner Turbo speed pitch comparison from the first 2 innings. And Gil-Mesh at 96 compared to Carmona's 95. That's a good sign for Mesh. Double your speed with Roadrunner Turbo from Time Warner Cable.
I tell you, we don't really know what's going to happen when Alex Gordon gets back, but I tell you what, Mark Tien looked so relaxed at third base. I mean, that really wasn't an easy hop that he had, and he just stayed composed and made it look like it was like a walk in the park. You know, you can tell that that's a position that he feels most comfortable in. That's just me talking.
1-1 on Jamie Carroll.
I mean, you see this hop now. This is in between hop. And just look how easy he made that. A lot of guys would have backed up on that, but he kept his hand moving forward, and he caught the ball as it was coming up. And that's how you should do it, move forward on that one. And he just looked so relaxed coming through the ball.
Now a little easier play for him, and throwing from the grass gets Jamie Carroll. So Gil with 2 ground ball outs in the second inning. All right, not to put you on the spot, but do you put Alex back to the spot where he was supposed to play all year? Or do you accommodate Mark Tien and possibly displace a couple of other guys?
Not to put me on the spot.
Not to put you on the spot, but let me put you on the spot.
Well, it's all going to depend on how Alex comes back. You know, I'm sure that when he comes back, he's going to have to go to Omaha and play some games. And I think it's just going to depend on where the team is at that time and what the overall thinking of Dayton Moore and Trey Hillman.
Well, I've been asked that question several times, and I've referred to something that you've brought up, 1-1 on Cabrera, and that is, you know, to accommodate one guy, how many others are you willing to displace? If you move Alex, you're putting him at a secondary position, which would be first base, which means Billy Butler loses playing time and has to become the DH, which means you might displace Mike Jacobs for some games. And the most logical answer seems to be you put Alex back at first where he was supposed to play, and Mark Tien bounces around. That was the plan coming out of spring training.
Well, it would probably be I guess it's really nice the Royals have this situation with Mark Tien. I mean, Mark Tien goes in and plays every day, and all of a sudden you have Willie Bloomquist to do the job that Mark Tien was supposed to do. And now if Alex comes back and he's swinging the bat wall, he's healthy, playing, moving, then Mark Tien will definitely get that roll back. So you're only talking about one guy versus moving 2 or 3 guys. So that would probably be the thought process. But, you know, that's going to boil down to what the team's doing at the time, how Trey Hillman feels about it, and how Dayton Moore feels.
Speaking of Billy, handles that hot shot from Cabrera to help Gil complete his first 1-2-3 inning. Mike Aviles will lead off after missing the last 4 games when we come back. Olathe, Vietnam veteran. He was with the U.S. Navy. Just retired this past year after 39 years working for the state of Kansas with the Kansas State School for the Blind, helping provide visually impaired students and their education. He is sitting in the Buck O'Neil Legacy seat tonight with friends. So welcome to the ballpark, Bob Schaumeyer from Olathe. Also, fans, don't forget to nominate others who make a difference in our community for the All-Stars Among Us promotion, sending one worthy Royals fan to St. Louis for the 2009 All-Star Game. You can visit royals.com/community to submit nominations. 2-0 on Mike Aviles, who's been out the last 4 games with a tight forearm. His right forearm. So his top hand on the bat and his throwing hand. And Trey Hillman saying that it is affect Aviles in anything where he needs extension, really extending through on a throw or really extending on a swing like that when you have to get the hands working quick.
Well, and the hands roll over, and that puts a lot of stress on the forearm also. But I think it's more the reaching to the pitch away from him that according to what Trey said, this is going to be the one that's going to affect him more. Throwing, well, you have to feel in a little discomfort when you're throwing, because that's just part of it. So you got to kind of settle in that area, Ryan, where you got some pain, but you're not injured, and you have to play through it.
Mark DeRosa comes up in left field to retire Aviles. One away in the bottom of the 3rd. Well, we hope that you'll start your summer off right by spending Memorial Day at Kauffman Stadium. You can enjoy $5 upper level tickets as part of a Royal Night and dollar concessions. It's part of an Independence Honda Buck Night. That's coming up on Memorial Day, Monday, after the Cardinals series in St. Louis. A 1:10 game. Coco with an Ichiro type swing, chopping it over Peralta, and has a 1-out single.
I mean, you can really see where he really was making a great effort. This is a changeup that started to go away. And, I mean, his body was already out and running, left his hands back out over the plate, and just slapped the ball in that direction on purpose.
Talk about slamming on the brakes. He was thinking about challenging Mark DeRosa. Only been thrown out twice in 13 stolen base attempts. That's the seventh most steals in the American League. Sinker ball guys are good to run on so long as that sinker is down.
As long as it's down, if it stays up out over the plate, and being a left-handed hitter at the plate, then that'll really give Martinez a clean lane to throw to second base.
Coco leaning towards second. He's running. Callaspo grounds it into left center field, and Coco, and we have obstruction as the shortstop Cabrera obstructed Coco Crisp. So first and third with 1 out.
Well, Coco gets a great break right here, and he doesn't look, so that tells me it's not a hit and run, and Caspo really takes the opportunity to slap the ball through the shortstop hole. And I thought at first when Cabrera went over, he would go over and try to deke it, but he just got caught in no man's land right there. And Coco did the smart thing, bumping, and was sure to get third base.
Well, Billy Butler has a chance to redeem himself. He batted with runners at first and second and nobody out in the first and hit into a double play. And now first and third, 1 out in the third with no score.
He's going to try to run this sinker in on his hands, and he's just going to have to make sure he stays inside it and try to drive it back through the middle. He's just trying to create a ground ball to third base right here.
Coco a 1-out single, and then Callaspo following with a single. 2-0.
You can see he's really trying to run that sinker in and try to get Billy to hit around it and get a ground ball. And at the worst, he can also get a pop-up from that same pitch if he elevates and gets it around the hand. That's where Billy's patience comes in right here. This has got to be his pitch, or else he's got to just take this pitch and let it go.
Well, the pitch was down and away. He did let it go as far as the swing goes. It's 2-1.
Well, this is a three-fingered changeup that goes down. He just turns over, but he really just can't swing at a pitch like that 2-0. You got to really be a little more selective with a man on third in that situation.
This is a scenario where the Royals really need to improve. Runner at third, less than 2 outs. And Billy grounds it through the left side. The Royals lead 1-0. So Carmona got the ground ball, but Billy places it perfectly in between Cabrera and Peralta and drives in his 19th of the year.
Well, Carmona did what he wanted to do. He wanted to get that ball in on Billy and get him to hit around it, and Billy did, but he successfully got it in the 6 hole. They got him a nice base hit out in the left field.
So with 1 out, 3 consecutive singles, a run home, and now Jacobs. Coco scoring his 9th run against the Indians this year. Jacobs struck out swinging in the first inning on that 3-fingered change split thing. Broken bat. Out at second, dropped by Cabrera. Callaspo took a dash towards the plate, but slammed on the brakes. Fans are booing because they felt like Cabrera dropped the ball. And second base umpire Brian Runge saying, yeah, he dropped it, but it was after the out was recorded, and it was transferring from glove hand to throwing hand.
Well, if you just pay attention to the right hand here, he's already secured the ball, and now he's making a transfer and bringing it down and kept his head up rather than make the transfer from glove to hand. And that's why you always like to see a middle infielders two-hand the ball and keep those two hands close together. But he reached way out to his left with his left hand and tried to get the right hand in there, just missed the exchange.
Now Guillen hits it just foul. He almost killed Alberto Callaspo.
So to me, if you don't make the exchange from glove to your bare hand, it's almost like a drop ball to me. It's not really in the act of throwing.
It should be in the throwing hand, and then if it's dropped,
then it's in the act of throwing at that point. But if you never make the transfer from glove to bare hand, then to me it's just a drop ball.
Now I say it was in a transfer, but you're saying it should be more than just a transfer. It's in the actual act of throwing.
Well, I think when transfer means glove hand to bare hand, but on this play it was glove hand to no hand.
So yeah, I agree with you. I mean, that is not in the act of throwing. Now his right hand and right arm was getting ready to throw, but the ball was never in that hand.
It was never in his throwing hand.
Way outside, and Martinez just saved a run. The Royals have a chance to make the Indians pay for not turning that double play. I'm sure in Carmona's mind this inning should be over after the Jacobs ground ball, but because of the drop, the Indians only able to record the second out, and first and third for Guillen. Thought about it, but lays off. It's 2-2. Carmona got him with a 94-mile-an-hour sinker in the second inning.
Well, Jose's got the kind of swing that Carmona's sinker comes into him and stays down below the knees. He can get to that pitch.
And the count goes from 0-2 to 3-2. The Royals haven't always come through this year, but they have many times been a very difficult offense to get the third out against.
I tell you, when you got a guy like Jose up there, you never know. He can cut his swing down and go the other way, and they've got some big two-out base hits.
Driven into right center, and the Royals do make the Indians pay. Callaspo scores. Jacobs to the plate. A two-run double for Guillen, and the Royals have come up with 3.
Well, this is what Jose Guillen can do right here. He takes that sinker and it comes down into his bat, and he really gets inside the ball, and this is what he does. He can drive that ball to right center field just when you least expect it. You think he wants to pull a ball, but he can just cut his swing down and go that way anytime he wants to. And that's what I call making an adjustment, pitch to pitch versus at bat to at bat. That was an outstanding at bat right there by Jose Guillen.
He has driven in 3 in this series. Now Tien. Among other things that Guillen accomplished in that at-bat, he fought back from 0-2 to make the count 3-2, and then the two-run double. Guillen adding to a .429 batting average with a full count before that at bat, so you don't want to get to 3-2 with him. But he worked hard to get to 3-2. Tien rolled over on a sinker and grounded out to second in the second.
So mark the way he can go to left center field, and Carmona's sinker going away. He just got to track the ball and drive it the other way and not try to roll over on it like he's doing right there.
So he's at about 20 pitches per inning already. The Indians have the second highest bullpen ERA in the league. So the quicker you get to them, the better. With one out, Crisp, Callaspo, and Butler all single. And Jacobs hit into a fielder's choice. Should have been a double play. And then Guillen, the two-run double. So this is all bonus time for the Royals in this inning.
Well, they had the double play and didn't turn it, and Carmona with the ERA the way his is, I mean, that would have been a big lift for him to get him off the field. But you make him face another couple of hitters, and the game turns around.
And Carmona may have just saved another run with that play, and then throws it 97 miles an hour over to Garco. Billy Butler drives in the first with this single, and then Guillen gets 2 to the plate with a double. learn more, visit kia.com. And by AT&T, switch to the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. A beautiful sunset in Kansas City, and a good start for the Royals with a 3-0 lead. So Gill has 3 runs to work with as he faces Grady Sizemore, followed by Victor Martinez and Shin-Soo Choo in the 4th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. Got a big strikeout of Sizemore in the first as Drupal Cabrera opened the game with a double. And Sizemore, unable to advance him, struck out. And then Martinez lined into a double play, and the Indians got nothing. And now a slow roller to Callaspo. 1 away. Grady Sizemore is 0 for his last 14. This week on Fox Saturday Baseball, interleague play is in full swing as Ryan Howard and the defending World Series champion Phillies make their first trip to New Yankee Stadium to take on Derek Jeter and the Yanks. Fox Saturday Baseball returns this week at 3 p.m. on Fox. Victor Martinez lined back to Gil Mesh, who threw to Mike Aviles for a double play to end the first inning. 62 hits for Martinez, the most in the American League. Hitting .397 to lead the American League.
That was a wicked line drive. He hit back through the middle. I know Gil's life probably passed right in front of him, but lucky the ball was on his glove side. And I don't really know if Aviles would have been able to see that line drive because he's playing directly behind Gil. So you only hope that after Gil delivers a pitch, then he's got a clear vision of the plate.
Now, would Aviles try and position himself in a way that might be distracting to the hitter? One step or two?
That might be true because you are in the vision of the hitter, but you also got to make sure that after the delivery of the pitch, you can actually see the hitter.
I guess Aviles would have to be over on the left side for Gil Mesh's throw to be coming out of his shirt.
Right, you'd almost have to see where Gil lands. He kind of spins out. He doesn't really come directly at the hitter.
Driven to deep left and to Jesus. It sails over his head. And Martinez continues to hit and drives a 1-2 pitch to left for his 13th double.
You know, they don't have to convince me. I think that you take Victor Martinez and Cabrera and you say, David, back up. You know, if we've seen, 2 balls go over David's head once in the last series and once last night, and here Martinez's ball goes over his head. So those 2 guys, I would never respect their power, especially since Gil pitches away the majority of the time.
Shin-Soo Choo rolled out to shortstop first time up. And hits a bullet into center field. Martinez is going to be waved home. Coco's throw is over the cutoff man. So the run scores and Choo moves up to second base. It's 3-1.
That's really not a good play on Coco's part right there. I mean, you got a 3-run lead. Throw the ball into second base. You keep the double play in order, and you can get out of the inning with possibly just giving up 1 run here. So if you're going to come up and if you're going to throw this ball, you got to throw this ball down so this ball can be cut and keep Choo at first base. Once you overshot the cutoff man, then he takes the extra 90 feet. And when you go at the end of a ball game, Ryan, you always wonder, how can you always lose by 1 run? That's a good way to lose by 1 run right there. Missing a cutoff man, giving the other team an extra 90 feet.
Well, the Indians just got done giving the Royals an extra out in the bottom of the 3rd, which resulted in 2 extra runs.
Yeah, part of playing defense is managing the game. You've got a 3-run lead right here. You don't have that strong arm, so basically you manage the game. You throw the ball to second base, man on first, ground ball, you out of the inning, gave up 1 run. Gil's off the field at that point.
Peralta singled to center in the 2nd inning. That is in the seats. Still going. Peralta is a strikeout candidate. He has 39 this year. Gill struck him out twice when he faced the Indians back in April, and both times Gill was ahead in the count, or behind in the count, 3-0. He came back from 3-0 twice to strike out Peralta. Now he's ahead 0-2. One ball, two strikes. Shin-Soo Choo just singled home Victor Martinez to make it 3-1, and now he's at second with one out. Now it's Callaspo playing up the middle as the defense shifts over to the left. And the curveball is a little high. Gill's shaking off signs. He has an idea of what he wants to throw here on 2-2. And now the count against Peralta goes from 0-2 to 3-2.
You know, coming in tonight's game, Ryan, Peralta is 12 for 35 against Gill. They had 343, but the big number there is 13 strikeouts in that 35 at bat.
So he either gets a hit or he strikes out. Back through the middle and somehow gets through Callaspo and Aviles. So by missing the cutoff man, the Indians take advantage and get a runner home. It's 3-2.
Well, this is one of those balls that you wonder how it ever got by him. Callaspo was playing up the middle, and he just did miss that ball. He was well on the shortstop side when that ball went through. But this is what happens when you give the team extra outs, or extra situations. If Chu's on first base, the defense is set up a little different, and that ground ball there could have been a double play.
I was thinking the same thing. That is a perfect ground ball if you're at normal double play depth. And now a chance for two, but a batter too late, and the Indians score two to make it a one-run game. Well, a 3-0 Royals lead is now 3-2. They have gone beyond go Royals, and now we have guys up there that just decided they want to paint themselves orange. It is dress up as a pylon night, and our winner is one of those last four on the right. One and one on to Jesus, reached on a walk in the second inning. Two and one. Had the game tying triple with one out in the bottom of the ninth last night, scoring Mitch Meyer, and then scored the game winning run himself on the Bloomquist sac fly. Hit hard to left, and carrying on Mark DeRosa. He made it a difficult play, but reaches up to grab it. One away in the fourth inning. And speaking of triples, David DeJesus and John Buck tied in an offensive category. Who would have thought 25% into the season that category would be triples? Coco still leads the league, and then all these players tied with three. How about John Buck? He's up there with Elvis Andrus, Carl Crawford. Grounded into a fielder's choice in the second inning. Carmona hustling over to the bag, handles a low throw from Garco. Two quick outs for Carmona in the fourth inning. Carmona does not have a 1-2-3 inning yet tonight. Aviles, after missing 4 games, flied out to left in the third inning. Trying to get the engine revved up. He is 4 out of his last 29.
Well, the Royals really need to start getting something out of that shortstop position. And they're going to really need from Mike or Hernandez or Tony Pena or Willie Bloomquist or someone to be consistent offensively out of that position.
That did not look like a full swing on that last cut by Aviles.
Well, if he's worried that if he extends it's going to hurt, then he's probably going to wait for something middle in where he can stay tight, and if his extension is going to be anywhere, it's going to be out in front of the plate and not to the outside to try to chase a bad pitch.
2-2. Just foul. Royals getting 3 in the third. Butler singled home crisp, and then with 2 outs, Jose Guillen driving in Callaspo and Jacobs. The Indians came right back with 2 in the top of the fourth. 3-2 on Aviles. Up the middle, and Aviles has a 2-out single. So a good at bat, turning an 0-2 into a 3-2, and then the single. Inc. College Nights offer $7 lower level seats to high school and college students with a valid student ID every Wednesday. So that includes tonight. The next is May the 27th, also a happy hour with concession specials in the outfield experience. For tickets, call 800-6-ROYALS. On the internet, Royals.com. Here at the ballpark, at the box offices, or at an area Hy-Vee food store. And there's a wild pitch that allows Aviles to move up to second base. So once again, the Royals creating a challenge for an American League pitcher trying to have an easy 1-2-3 inning.
Well, that's that changeup, and it hits right behind the plate, and Martinez really tried to catch it when he really should have tried to block it out in front of the plate.
Coco walked in the first, singled and scored in the third. Left side, Cabrera backhands, no play. Aviles holds at third. So Coco 2 for 2 with a walk, and runners at the corners with 2 down.
Well, Coco did a real good job just staying with that pitch and hitting it toward left field. Cabrera made a real nice stop, and I think he was trying to see if he can catch Mike going around third base, but Mike did a good thing there by sliding into third base.
That's because Mike, as a shortstop, loves to try and throw the runner out at third. So he was thinking as himself when he was sliding in. Callaspo walked in the first, singled and scored in the third. And that average with runners in scoring position, 414, is the third best in the American League. Sinker hits the outside corner. Alberto's base hit in the third gives him a 7-game hitting streak and moves his average up to 344. One and one.
If you've got a hitter, Ryan, that can really hit the ball hard on the ground when he wants to, and in a hit and run situation or a base stealing situation, if he can hit hard ground balls, you can see when those infields start moving, it opens up some holes for you, and you can get some, well, I like to call them cheap base hits, because it's designed, because the base runner running is the reason you got the base hit.
Gets away from Martinez. Here comes Aviles, and the Royals get a run. 2 outs, nobody on, 2 singles, a wild pitch, and the Royals get a run back.
This is that changeup that Carmona left short, and Martinez really left the door up, and the ball went under. That's when you got to get down on both knees and block this ball back out.
Second wild pitch of the inning for Carmona. He had only 2 all season before tonight. And now this time that change splitter thing is a little bit higher, and it's in for a strike. Garco, a former catcher, blocking it like a pitch in the dirt and keeping it from right field, but the Royals get a run on a wild pitch, and it's back out to a 2-run Royals lead. AT&T Rapid Rewind. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. 4-2 Royals as we go to the 5th inning. It's Mark DeRosa leading off against Gil Mesh. Royals getting 3 in the 3rd inning for a 3-0 lead. Indians came right back with 2 in the 4th, and the Royals answered in the bottom of the 4th. And DeRosa begins the 5th inning with a single to left field. He is 1 out of 2. Ryan Lefevre along with Frank White, and both teams taking advantage of opportunities. The Royals getting 3 thanks to an extra out, and the Indians getting 2 when the Royals didn't hit the cutoff man.
Well, that's what happens when you're in a close game, and part of the defensive responsibility is to manage the game, and that base hit to center field by Chu should have been thrown to second base, and possibly that last ground ball that got through might have been a double play. So managing the game is huge when you got a lead.
Frank, if you could measure Ben Francisco not by hits against the Royals, but line drives or well hit balls against the Royals, he's hitting about 800.
I'd say Mill Lynn, that fastball, he just don't miss. And I think that there's really nothing wrong with his swing. He's just not having a lot of luck.
Now Jamie Carroll grounded out to 3rd in the 3rd inning. Began the year on the disabled list. He broke his left hand near the end of camp. Jamie Carroll, not quite as versatile, but he would be the Indians' version of Willie Bloomquist. Well, it's that time of year that the birds start coming out, and I think one of them has found one of our crowd mics. 1-1 on Carroll. DeRosa runs, grounded to Aviles. Thought about second base, but with the 2-run lead, took the sure out.
Well, this is a hit and run, and Castle was covering all the way, and normally Jamie Carroll would try to hit that ball to the second base side. But one thing you have to make sure you do as a middle infielder in that situation is you got to let the ball pass the hitter before you actually break to the bag. On that play there, as soon as the runner broke first, Castle broke to the bag. So that's why that's a big hole to shoot for when they put a hit and run on it.
63 pitches for Gill in 4 2/3 innings. He went just 4 1/3 last time. That's the James B. Nutter pitch count. There we go. There's a little, one of those little sparrows.
Ran to sparrows.
There we are. Wave, Frank. Say hi to your mom.
Hi, Mom.
0-1 on Asdrubal Cabrera, who's had 2 good swings tonight and several good swings in this series. So John Buck and Gil Mesh want to talk this one over. You certainly don't want to pitch around Cabrera and go after Grady Sizemore. I know Grady Sizemore's 0 for his last 14, but he still has 7 home runs, 25 RBIs, and if Cabrera gets on, Sizemore would represent the go-ahead run.
As good a hitter as he's still got that big swing in his bat, so you never know when it's going to come out, and so he's one of those guys you still can't make a mistake on.
Good cutter puts Mesh ahead 0-2 on Cabrera.
Cabrera's really shown that he likes the ball a little bit more out over the plate, and he's shown some surprising power to left field.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, Sidney Ponson just starting to loosen up. Back to Gill. So leadoff single for the Indians, but no runs in the 5th. Royals lead 4-2. In the last 2 innings. 3 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th, and 3 of the 4 runs coming with 2 outs. Billy Butler has driven in 1 of the runs, 1 for 2 with a single. Carmona throws strike 1. Billy grounded into a double play in the 1st inning. The Royals had 2 on, nobody out after Carmona walked Crisp and Callaspo, but then Billy redeemed himself with a RBI single in the 3rd. Carmona's ahead 0-2. So Billy, who is not your prototype as far as a number 3 hitter, has had great success since Trey Hillman moved him there at the beginning of this homestand. He's got his overall average now up to .288. Jamie Carroll to the middle, and Billy is the first out of the 5th. Immediately after the game from Rivals Sports Bar, it'll be Boulevard Royals Live with Joel Goldberg and Jamie Quirk. Brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City's beer. And when you're out here at the ballpark, don't forget to stop by Rivals Sports Bar for the pregame, postgame. Did that guy just fall out of his chair? Did you see that? Stop by and say hi to Jamie and Joel. There's a big bounce from Jacobs to Carroll. Well, Mike Jacobs is 0 for 3. He has scored a run. Jose Guillen coming up, and it's time for the Coors Light freeze cam. And Guillen has the biggest hit for the Royals tonight with 2 outs in the 3rd inning. This double scoring Callaspo and Jacobs. He was down 0-2, got it to 3-2, and then the double. Coors Light freeze cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Strike 1 from Carmona, who is still looking for his first 1-2-3 inning. With 2 outs and nobody on last inning, the Royals got a couple of singles and then a wild pitch and scored their 4th run. Now Guillen has hit in 6 straight games and has his average up to 293. Spent some time on the disabled list very early in the season. Injured a hip flexor in the 3rd game of the year, but has been playing mostly right field since coming back. Riding in across the elbows, 3-1.
That's that running fastball that he really wants to get on your hands and possibly break your bat on. The thing with Jose, though, to get it down a little bit more, that's when he drops the head of that bat on that ball and really jumps off his bat when it's down in that area.
Well, the Tigers have beaten Texas. Royals chasing Detroit in the Central, 1 game back coming into tonight, so at least at the moment a game and a half back. That was Justin Verlander against Matt Harrison. There's the broken bat, the bat going just about as far as the ball did, but a foul ball. It's still 3-2.
That's the one that really seeks the bat right there. That's the ball they say got some teeth on it when it's running in like that. If you got to recognize it right away and take it, it's going to do that to you. It's that 2-6. See, I just runs right in on his hand, right up, come on his hand and just start trailing right into the right-handed hitter. And when you're throwing that pitch at 93, 94 miles an hour, it gets that hurt.
And this time a called 3rd strike on a 3-2 to Guillen. Carmona's first 1-2-3 inning. He faces him with nobody on thanks to this pitch by pitch against Cabrera last inning.
Well, Gil starts him off with 2 straight fastballs and another fastball that kept running away, and then he comes back with a slow breaking ball to get him on a ball back to himself, and that's the easiest out for a pitcher. I hopper right to him, taking him toward first base.
Pitch by pitch brought to you by Arby's. So Sizemore hits with nobody on. If Cabrera reached, Mesh faces Sizemore with 2 on in a 2-run game. Just threw that fastball right by him. 1-1 to Sizemore, who's 0 for 2 tonight, and now 0 for his last 14. And Grady Sizemore is hitting .212.
Well, last at bat, he got jammed on a curveball, and here's a fastball that gets thrown right by him. So it kind of tells you maybe he's just not staying back and seeing the ball. Maybe he's just going forward a little bit, trying to go get the ball rather than sitting back and let it come to him. So if he's too slow for the breaking ball, too quick for the breaking ball and too slow for the fastball, then he's just in a bad area right here. So he really needs to stay back and just let the ball track to him, and then just trust his hands to get through the ball. But right now, he's just in no man's land.
Gill hasn't walked anyone yet. 2 strikeouts, 2 double plays. Hit hard to right field. Guillen coming up, makes a nice play. And that's the way it's going when you're slumping like Sizemore. Even when you hit it hard, it's right at someone, and now he is 0 for his last 15.
Well, this is a changeup that kind of goes down and away, and he got extended on it and really got the good part of the bat on it. Hit a great line drive, but Guillen came in and made a nice shoestring grab. Well, that might be a good indication that maybe his legs are starting to feel a little bit better.
Now Victor Martinez. Lined into a double play in the first inning and then lined a double in the 4th. Scored one of the 2 runs. The Indians scored in that 4th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike. So he's got his batting average up above 400 again at 401. Against the Royals, he's even better than that. He is 14 out of 29, so almost hitting 500 against KC, and this is the 8th game between the 2 teams this year. 3-1.
When a player is hitting the ball as well as Victor Martinez is hitting the ball, that means he's seeing everything. He's not only just seeing the fastball, but all the off-speed pitches, and he really has a good approach to what he wants to do every time he gets in the box.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, very rarely ever, takes a bad swing. Usually he's maximized on his swing. When he decides he's going to swing at it, then he's got the pitch where he wants it.
I'm sure he feels like he's making up for some lost time because he only played in 73 games last year. He had surgery on his right elbow. Pass mesh, but remember, Aviles has been guarding behind the bag against Victor Martinez. So that pays off for the 2nd time tonight. 2 down.
Well, this is a shift here. You can see Aviles is just really right over Gil Mess's left shoulder, and Martinez hits the ball right under his glove, and Aviles is sitting right there. Gil, I think pitchers sometimes forget where that defensive guy is. So I can imagine ball going under Gil's glove, and he says, "Oh man, base hit," and he looks up and sees Aviles standing there, and gets a little more. Oh, there he is.
Shin-Soo Choo driving in a run in the 4th inning and then scored himself. 1 for 2 tonight. .80 pitches now for Gilmesh. 87 in his last start, but that was only through 4 1/3. He's 1 out away from getting through 6. Last inning, Sidney Ponson was just starting to play catch, playing long toss, or at least as long as you can throw and still be in the bullpen. He's just standing on the mound just in case. 3 balls, 1 strike. Gil has never been a slow worker, but it seems like tonight he is working extra fast.
Well, he's trying to increase his tempo, and that's really not a bad thing because it keeps your body warm and keeps your thought processes on the move. You don't have time to do a lot of thinking, so you basically trust your catcher for the most part to put the right finger down, and you just go.
And he and John Buck about 98% of the time are on the same page. Still 3-2 on Choo.
So we talked about yesterday, hitters a lot of times when a pitcher's throwing a good game against you and he's working a fast pace in his rhythm, you don't see a lot of hitters today try to break that rhythm by stepping out and doing something a little different. Now yesterday they made a couple nice bunts against Banny, and that really changed that inning around. So sometimes you have to do something out of the norm to get a pitcher out of his rhythm.
That's Gil's first walk against a guy who walks a lot. 1 on, 2 out. Let's take another look at You Call It, presented by Sprint. Man, you talk about a runaway. What is the Royals' best win so far as they play their 40th game tonight? So this is the 1/4 mark. 1% was avoiding a sweep back on April the 12th against the Yankees. The Royals won 2 out of 3 in Chicago, came home to the new K, lost the first 2. They got, what, 5 RBIs from John Buck. 1% picked that one. Then that 10-7 extra inning win at Minnesota. And we thought that was big, Frank, because the Royals went back and forth with the Twins all night and typically would lose that game at the Dome. And then the 8-7 victory in extras against the White Sox when they were down by 4 twice. But 80% picked last night, and I can make a case all night long until I'm blue in the face, but it's going to be tough to beat last night's victory.
Well, when you snatch victory from the jaws of defeat, it's almost like, what have you done for me lately in this deal? So last night's game excited a lot of people, and that's all I heard all day today was what a game that was. And I can imagine on the road when they won the game in Minnesota, the team's on the road, and you don't get to hear those conversations. So it's always better when you do it at your hometown.
Now ball 1 on Johnny Peralta, 2 hits and an RBI. We discussed last night that whether Mike Jacobs is 3 for 4, 0 for 4, he's always hanging over the railing. And Trey Hillman said before the game, he may as well just put Jacobs' name on that Gatorade jug because he is always sitting there, always wants to be close to the game. And Gilmesh gives up his first walk, pitches a scoreless 6, and has given up only 2.
And Bob McClure goes up to shake his hand, but I don't know if he's ready to leave this game or not. But we go to the bottom of the 6th, and this is a sonic slam inning.
Martin on the first pitch from Carmona grounds out to Jamie Carroll. He is 0 for 3.
This is a sonic slam inning, and our contestant is Sean Huffer from St. Joe, Missouri. If the Royals hit a home run this inning, Sean will win $700. But if the Royals hit a grand slam out of the park, Sean will win $25,000 from Sonic and the Kansas City Royals.
That group just continues to grow. But hey, look at it. A couple nice looking young ladies who happen to be into the whole fluorescent orange paint thing, adding to the group. Hey,
they just don't want it on them.
David DeJesus has walked and lined to left. Royals with 3 in the 3rd. Billy Butler singled in a run, and then with 2 outs, Jose Guillen doubled in a pair of runs, and that was after the Indians should have turned a double play to end the inning. So it should have been a 1-run 3rd. It was a 3-run 3rd. The Indians came back with 2 in the 4th. One of those a result of missing a cutoff man. And then in the bottom of the 4th, a wild pitch scored Mike Aviles. Newly acquired Luis Vizcaino warms up in the Indians bullpen. 3-1 on DeJesus. Just over the 100 mark. That's why Vizcaino is warming up. Full count. DeJesus batting 8th last night with Cliff Lee on the mound. Batting 7th tonight and has hit mostly down in the order the last handful of games after hitting 2nd and 3rd most of the year. In fact, the thought was going into spring training and even coming out of spring training that David DeJesus might be the number 3 hitter this year.
Well, that was the thought, mainly because of his on-base percentage, his ability to make contact and get base hits. And the number 3 hitter don't have to be a big home run guy, but he has to be a guy that can take what the defense gives him and get base hits and drive in runs. Driving in runs, to me, would be the most important stat for that position.
4th walk for Carmona. That gives him 30 this year, the most in the American League. And DeJesus with career highs in all 3 of those numbers, as well as doubles, stolen bases, and that's a lot of RBIs for a leadoff hitter on a team that was 12 games below 500. Plus, he had the best batting average with runners in scoring position in the major leagues. Buck lays down a bunt. Carmona slipped as he picked it up, but was able to keep his footing. DeJesus moves up to second base. So runner at second, 2 down for Mike Aviles. Well, time is running out. If you're interested in the new weekday play pack, a great deal for weekday games here in May. 4 Field Plaza tickets, $20 worth of concessions, and unlimited free games of the outfield experience for $40. That's over $150 value. The Royals have a day game tomorrow. Zach Greinke pitching against Carl Pavano at 110. And then the Royals are home against the Tigers and the White Sox to wrap up May. Loop to right, but Chu is shallow, and that's the inning. We played 6. Royals lead 4-2. 2 runs, but only 87 pitches. That might still be a concern. A good outing overall. Royals getting 3 in the 3rd. Billy Butler driving in a run with 1 out. Jose Guillen driving in 2 with 2 outs. And with the score 3-2 in the 4th inning, Mike Aviles coming home on a wild pitch to make it 4-2, and now to the 7th, and it's Jamie Wright making his 16th appearance. The Indians will send up Ryan Garco, Mark DeRosa, and Ben Francisco.
Well, the 87 pitches by Mesh, you'd have to look at that, and maybe that's just a plan that they're going to go with until he gets his stamina built back up and gets his conditioning program back to where they think he's capable of going, like 3 or 4 starts, up to 116 pitches.
Earlier in the year, Gill had back-to-back starts where he went 116 and then 120 pitches. 0-2 on Ryan Garco, who has never gotten a hit against Jamie Wright.
Well, Jamie's got that real good slider to go with that sinker, and it's right off the outside corner. Ryan Garco is a first ball fastball hitter up in the zone. That was a good start pitch.
Now he gets the ground ball, a big bounce for Aviles. Garco is 0 for 3. Our next Royals telecast in high definition is tomorrow at 1:10. Zach Greinke pitching for the Royals. Carl Pavano for the Indians. Game 3. Coverage starts at 12:30 with Royals Live. It's all brought to you by Time Warner Cable, where HD is free with digital cable. And DeRosa into right center. Guillen hustles over to hold him to a single. DeRosa's 2 for 3. Well, you pointed out at the very beginning that a key for Gil Mesh tonight, if stamina indeed was an issue, that being pitch efficient was of great importance, and he answered that call, because that's a 2nd straight game that Gil has gone 87 pitches, but that only lasted 4 1/3 on Thursday. Tonight, those 87 pitches got him through 6 innings.
And he should be happy with that. I know he was a little reluctant to go out of the game, and that's the competitive nature that Gil Mesh has. But I think the Royals are going to err on the side of caution until he feels like he's 100%, and they can push him through that 100-pitch mark again.
Ben Francisco has hit the ball hard twice, has nothing to show for it. Hits the ball hard again and singles to left. Well, we haven't seen all of his games this year, but the games he's played against the Royals, I think he, more than any other Indian outside of Victor Martinez, squares up more pitches.
And especially in that middle end, the ball's coming into him. He's just quick inside. And like you say, going back to when we first saw him at the beginning of the year, he missed a foul pole by a couple inches. And anytime you lead that ball middle end to him down, he just really turns on him.
So DeRosa at second, Francisco at first, and Jamie Carroll at the plate. Two ground balls, both to the left side against Gil Mesh. Royals have already turned 2 double plays tonight. Ball 1. A couple of former Colorado Rockies hooking up here. 1-1. Both teams, the Indians and the Royals, have had a game this year where they have turned 6 double plays in one game. The Indians did theirs against the Royals in Cleveland. Aaron Laffey was the starting pitcher. That's a great pitch to Carroll. 1-2.
That's it. This is slider right on the outside corner. That's an unhittable pitch right there. Jamie can really use a sinker here, try to get a ground ball double play and get out of this inning with no damage.
Sidney Ponson, joined by Ron Mayhay, who appears to be warming up in a hurry. Jamie to Jamie. And did it hit him? He started to swing, and he's going to get first base. The Royals are going to argue this. Jamie Carroll did not think he was going to go to first base. His first instinct was not to go to first. And if you can read Trey Hillman's lips, he was going back. Now, Darrell Cousins, I think, is doing the right thing here. He's going to go talk to another umpire, Jim Joyce, who's also been in the league for a long time.
That one's going to be hard for a first base umpire to see. Darrell Cousins really has to be able to hear wood versus meat when the ball contacts the bat. So it's a sound that he really has to go by right here. That's a sinker that's going to run up and in on Carroll. So he's got his bat choked up. He's got about 2 inches of bat hanging down below his hand, and this is where the umpire's got to listen for the wood sound of the ball hitting the bat, because there's a different sound when the ball hits the bat than it does when it hits your hand. See, I think that's a telltale sign right there. You don't walk back toward the dugout in that situation. Usually always head to first base and let them call you back.
And now you get to a guy who's swinging the bat well, as Drupal Cabrera, with the bases loaded and 1 out. That was on a 1-2 pitch to Carroll. Outside, ball 1. That happened earlier this year at the Metrodome. Remember, I think it was Delman Young, and he had gone a third of the way in between home and first and was heading back to home plate because he thought it was a foul ball. And Ron Gardenhire came running out. It was Denard Span. And now 3-0 on Cabrera. Denard Span. And certainly you're going to be freaked out when it comes that close to your hands, but Denard Span was on his way back to home plate. Ron Gardenhire came running out saying, no, 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 no. They said it hit you. Walk towards first. 1-run game on a 4-pitch walk. So that may have unnerved Jamie Wright. Now, Trey Hillman just pointed to his right arm. So he's going to bring in one righty for another righty. Sidney Ponson, hoping his sinker will get a ground ball and a double play. stay in to face Grady Sizemore, and now kind of have to pick your poison, because with Ponson and Mayhay warming up, Grady Sizemore has done well against both of those guys, but he goes with Ponson. And Sidney, who began the year in the Royals rotation, now making just his third appearance out of the bullpen, and he inherits a mess. A one-run game because of a bases loaded walk, an apparent missed call on a hit batter. And now they're loaded up for Grady Sizemore, who is 0 for 3 and 0 for his last 15, which is both good news and bad news.
I think Trey likes Sidney Ponson here because of his sinker.
Callaspo off his glove, out at second. Oh, Aviles lost control of the ball. Throw back to third, not in time. That ball was flying all over the place. Callaspo couldn't field it cleanly, and then Aviles had it shoot out of his hand. And instead of the inning being over with a one-run lead, the game is tied.
What we're talking about here is that's that transfer again, Ryan. When you catch the ball and you can't get that good transfer, then that's what's going to happen. You got to make sure that you keep those two hands together in there so the transfer will be made a lot easier. Caspo did a great job stopping this ball. He gave him an outstanding feed, but he just never did make the transfer. Once you turn your head, it's kind of hard to make that transfer. Dave Owen, the infield coach, wasn't too happy about that one.
So that's a fielder's choice, 4-6. An RBI for Sizemore, scoring Francisco. Cabrera out at second base.
Trey Hillman got what he wanted from Ponson. He got the ball down. He got it and hit it right to Callaspo, and they had the double play.
And the ball was hit hard, but you need it to be hit hard in order to get a double play from Sizemore.
I mean, Mike just had a great ball to handle. He just, before the ball was secured in his glove, he turned his head to look toward first base, and that's where the mishap occurred right there in the transition.
And now line to left, De Jesus is there, so the game remains tied, but the Royals give away a couple in the 7th inning. The Panera Bread scoreboard, Detroit wins its 5th in a row. Texas has lost 2 straight after winning 7 in a row. Yankees have won 8 straight, beating up on Baltimore. Oakland defeating Tampa Bay. 14 home runs for Carlos Pena to lead the American League. Adrian Gonzalez has 15. for the Padres to lead the major leagues. Boston over Toronto, so Red Sox a game and a half back in the East. Chicago beating Minnesota. Now the Twins were very close to losing their 6th in a row. And Los Angeles and Seattle, no score after that great start. Seattle now 4 games under 500, and they've lost 7 of their last 10 games. And at the moment, the Angels are 2.5 back in the West. Aaron Laffey, the Royals saw him as a starter twice. Now he's pitching out of the bullpen. And in relief of Fausto Carmona, the Royals have the top of the order coming up. And Coco bunting, charging in Peralta, and a low throw is handled by Garco. So Peralta sniffed that out and was on that bunt in a hurry. Coco retired for the first time tonight.
Yeah, that was a real nice play by Peralta, who, I don't know, he doesn't get a lot of play at third base. And Chris made a really nice bunt, and Peralta made a nice strong throw, and Garco did a good job picking that ball out of the dirt.
A couple of switch hitters move over to the right side, and Callaspo taking ball 1. A walk, a single, a ground out for Callaspo. He has scored a run. Back to Laffey, who apparently does not like to throw to first base. The lollipop over there, and 2 down.
You see a lot of pitchers do that.
Let's take a look at what's on tap. Brought to you by Budweiser Select. 1:10 tomorrow, Royals and Indians. Zach Greinke and Carl Pavano. Then part 1 of the I-70 series over the weekend in St. Louis. And then the Tigers here at Kauffman Stadium, followed by the Chicago White Sox on the next homestand. Billy 1 for 3. RBI single, 2 ground balls to second base. One of those was a double play. You don't see this very often, but Aaron Laffey was bumped out of the starting rotation because he was pitching so well. The bullpen was so bad that somebody needed to go out there and provide some stability. The Indians have some depth in starting pitching in the minor leagues, but normally when a guy goes from the rotation to the bullpen, it's looked at as a demotion.
Well, I think in this case, he's probably looking at what can I do to help this ball club. You know, they're trying to right the ship, and if you don't have anybody on the back end to get anybody out, it doesn't really matter what your starters do. And if you start heavy, then it gives him an opportunity not only to go in the back and pitch, but not only for innings, but he also shows how well he can get left-handed hitters out.
Only the Angels have a higher bullpen ERA in the American League. Billy takes a 2-out walk. So no victory for Gil Mesh tonight, who gave up just 2 runs in 6 innings. 2 runs charged to Jamie Wright in the 7th to tie it up. And no loss for Fausto Carmona.
Aaron Laffey's got that real good sinking fastball, so I would imagine that was something that Eric Wedge would look at, because he's got the ability to get a double play and get him out of a tough inning.
A bullet, but Cabrera was right there. Laffey pitches a scoreless 7th. Remember, you can shop the largest online selection of Royals caps, t-shirts, jerseys, and more 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at the official online pro shop of the Royals at Royals.com. Sidney Ponson got the final 2 outs of that 2-run Cleveland 7. He stays on for Chu, Peralta, and Garco. 0-2 quickly on Shin-Soo Choo. Singled with an RBI and a run scored in the 4th inning. The story of this game so far, double plays not turned. The Indians didn't turn one in the 3rd inning. That cost them 2 runs. The Royals didn't turn one in the 7th. That cost them 1 run and tied the game. Chu through the left side for his 2nd hit.
In the 3rd inning, this is one where the Indians missed right here, where this was called a double play on the exchange, but in our view, it should have been a non-call. And this is the one with the Royals where Michael Belis he mishandled the ball and didn't get a good throw off the first base, and that would have saved the Royals a run there.
The Indians will run. They have the 4th most stolen bases in the league, and Shin-Soo Choo is 6 out of 6. Peralta showing bunt. Ponson going with a slide step to make sure Chu didn't get a very good jump. 2-hit game for Peralta. He's also driven in his 17th run of the year. To the first base side. Somebody's going to have to grab it. And Billy jumps on it quickly and gets it to Alberto Callaspo. So the sacrifice gets Chu to second base. 1 out.
Well, that's the bunt that the first baseman really has to come down and get. Once that ball goes down the line, the first baseman's got to leave because the second baseman will be there. You can't really expect the pitcher to really track that ball back to first base. So you always tell your first baseman, the ball down the line, you got to go.
Now Ponson to Ryan Garco, 0 for 3. He is grounded into a double play tonight. A pop-up. And John Buck is going to run out of room. Tonight's copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Kansas City Royals. May not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Kansas City Royals Baseball Corporation. Was a called strike, and Ponson's ahead again, 0-2. Ponson losing his spot in the rotation to Luke Hochevar, and a shifting of positions when Joakim Soria went on the DL. Royals needed an arm in the bullpen. Ponson filled that role, and Hochevar was killing the Pacific Coast League. Sidney dropping down and misses outside. It's been a tough go so far for for Luke Hochevar, and his next scheduled start will be during the Cardinals series over the weekend. He is scheduled to pitch on Saturday against Kyle Loesch. Two and two.
Well, John did a great job blocking there. I mean, he really lets that ball settle in, and you know the breaking ball is going to come up. You just really cup your shoulders, let it hit you right in the belly, and go right back out over the plate. That was an outstanding job.
Little things like that. I mean, if that ball gets away from Buck, now you have a runner at third with less than 2 outs, and a fly ball could put the Indians in front. And now it's going to take a base hit, and Garko flicks it foul up against the netting.
You know, infielders have to go through certain fundamentals in order to be able to catch a ground ball, and catchers have to go through certain fundamentals in order to block balls. And really, they'll tell you the hardest ball to block is a fastball that hits like right in front of the plate or right on the plate. The breaking balls are much easier.
Back to Ponson, and the Royals will get an out, hopefully in a rundown. Sidney Ponson running down Chu. The Royals executed that play well, but Chu stayed in that rundown long enough for Garko to get to second base.
Oh, way too long on the too many throws. You want to try to get him out before the batter runner gets to second base. If you go back to when Tien had the ball, Tien probably should have ran him all the way back to second base and then gave the ball up and tried to do it in one throw.
So 1-5. 4-1, and now Garko will leave, and Matt Laporta will run for him. And Laporta, not necessarily a fast runner, but faster than Garko. Well, this has been a game where one little misplay here, one too many throws there, one missed cutoff man has really resulted in runs. Sometimes those plays go unnoticed because the beneficiary doesn't take advantage. Tonight, both teams have taken advantage.
Well, the way the play's designed in spring training is once the throw went to Mark Tien at third, and once he got him going back to second, you want to get him going fast enough that he can't change directions again. And then the Caspo would just be able to yell for the ball and make the tag, and you keep the batter runner at first base.
So either Tien pulled the trigger too soon, or Caspo pulled the trigger too soon by calling for the throw.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. You get a little anxious in that situation. A lot of times they'll try to cut the ground down a little bit, but the key thing is not let the runner be able to change positions on you. Change directions on you.
2-1 on DeRosa, who's talking his way through this plate appearance with Ponson. 2 hits, a run scored for him tonight. DeRosa may come in from the outfield and go to first next half inning with Laporta going to left. Great pitch. 2-2.
Well, Sidney likes to throw that backdoor sinker, we call it. It'll just start to the outside. The right-hand hitter will give up on it, and it'll come back and catch the outside corner.
Did he go? No. And everyone in the Royals dugout leaning backward in frustration. Not necessarily thinking that the umpire missed the call, hoping that he would call it a swing.
Well, a lot of times the umpire will have trouble with that dark bat and making that call so far away. And I think the fans just, all those butterflies in their belly, are just hoping for a base hit. I mean, for a call clear strike right there.
Instead, a liner to right field, and this is going to roll deep on Guillen. So the Indians take the lead. So DeRosa with his third hit, and Cleveland leads for the first time tonight. So a missed cutoff man has resulted in a run, and one too many throws on a rundown has resulted in a run. Trey Hillman is going to go to the bullpen for the third time tonight. Robinson Tejeda will come on to face Ben Francisco. Tonight, watching the game, alternating between watching the game, visiting the pro shop, getting something to eat, maybe going into Rivals, playing some of the games. But more people paying attention to the game now as we're in the 8th inning and Cleveland is in front 5-4. Almost 20,000 here tonight for Game 2 of the series. 19,652 to be exact. So it's Tejeda to face Francisco with DeRosa at second base. DeRosa just doubled against Ponson to put Cleveland in front.
Well, I'm sorry,
Go ahead, Frank.
We know Francisco is a fastball hitter, and even though he's 0 for 5 against Tejeda, you know, the ball middle end fastball, he's been able to get to that pitch.
And staying away from him. Ben Francisco is 0 for 5 in his career against Robinson Tejeda. One ball, 2 strikes. Tejeda coming in usually much earlier in the game to put out a fire, and he can get a strikeout. He has struck out 23 in under 16 innings. 99 with that fastball.
You know, occasionally he'll drop down with 2 strikes, and if he drops down with 99, Ben Francisco may not know what to think.
That's not fair.
it wouldn't be to me.
Gilmesh went the first 6, left with a 4-2 lead. Jamie Wright gave up 2 in a third of an inning. Ponson has given up 1 in an inning and a third. 97 with that fastball. It's still 1-2. And now Tejeda trying to clean up the top of the 8th. In the bottom half, the Royals will have Jose Guillen, Mark Teahan, and David DeJesus against Aaron Laffey. Back to the middle. So it's a 2-run Cleveland lead. Francisco with his second hit. 4th well hit ball tonight. And both of those runs charged to Sidney Ponson.
But Tejeda been throwing that 99 mile-an-hour fastball, and he throws the 85 mile-an-hour slider, and Francisco, he was right on it. Throw the ball right back to the middle.
So the Royals are going to need some heroics late again tonight. Thinking that Francisco might take off. 7 stolen bases, caught only once. The Indians had some depth in the outfield and decided to trade away Franklin Gutierrez, who's now playing for the Mariners. They had Shin-Soo Choo, Grady Sizemore, David DeLucci, Ryan Garco's played a little bit in the outfield, Ben Francisco. So trying to fill some of their needs, they traded away Gutierrez, deciding to stay with Francisco, and I think they made the right choice. This guy can hit.
He's got some quick hands, I tell you. He's only going to get better.
Iaspo out in his shallow center to end the inning, but Cleveland gets 2 to take the lead. Guillen, Teahan, and DeJesus coming up for the Royals. To first base, and Kelly Shopik takes over behind the plate as Matt Laporta ran for Ryan Garco, who started the game at first. So Laporta does not stay in. Garco's out. Jose Guillen leads off here in the 8th inning. He's had a good game at the plate and in the field. This is our defensive play of the game, brought to you by the Home Depot. The Home Depot doing more on defense. And Jose is driven in 2. 2 out, 2-run double in the 3rd inning. Strike 1 from Aaron Laffey. Into right field. That's going to fall for a hit. So right away the Royals have the potential tying run coming up. 2-hit game for Jose Guillen. Now if Guillen represented the tying or the go-ahead run, Trey Hillman might use Mitch Meyer to run for him, but the tying run is at the plate. The go-ahead run is on the on-deck circle. Tien looked like he was sitting on that breaking ball and missed it.
He had a nice swing at it. It was just a little up, but he's hit that pitch before.
Two ground outs to second, a ground ball back to the mound for Tien. Fastball stays inside, 1-1. This has not been a good matchup for Mark Tien. 1 for 10 with 3 strikeouts. Fooled him with that slider. That was the pitch that gave the Royals fits when they faced Aaron Laffey in Cleveland. That was the game that the Indians turned 6 double plays, 5 of which when Laffey was on the mound. Tien reaches out, puts it in play. Laffey thought about second and almost waited too long to throw to first.
He was looking to get the lead runner, but when he looked to second base, no one was at second base, so he had to readjust himself and go to first base. Here he's looking right at second base, and nobody's there. Then he sets his feet and redirects the ball to first base.
So Guillen in scoring position, and David DeJesus to the plate. Good night for David. 2 walks. He is 0 for 1, but his out was a line drive to left field. So slowly but surely, David getting his swing back. This is another Royal left-hand batter that's had a tough time against Laffey, but off the fist into left. Here comes Guillen. It's a 1-run game as DeJesus drives in his 16th.
This is what you call a pitcher's pitch that gets hit for a base hit. David just stayed inside of it. The ball got in on him a little bit and just forced the ball down the left field line for a base hit. And Mike Jacobs is doing exactly what the on-deck hitter is supposed to do. Be there to direct the... So John Buck is there. The next hitter on deck should be there to tell the base runner whether he's going to slide or stand up. But they're supposed to do it without their bat in their hand, though. They're supposed to leave the bat in the on-deck circle.
Eric Wedge is going to bring in Rafael Betancourt to face John Buck. So back come the Royals, down by 1 with 1 out in the bottom of the 8th. cult status. Started with about 4 or 5 guys. Now half the stadium has taken their shirt off and taken a bath in fluorescent orange paint. But if it results in a game-winning rally, we'll take it. Hey fans, as part of the Royal Salute to the Negro Leagues on May the 30th, the first 20,000 fans will receive a replica Monarchs jersey from Pepsi. So a great day to be at the ballpark. Royals and White Sox. That's Saturday, May the 30th for a 6:10 game. Rafael Betancourt with an ERA just under 5. Walks have been a problem for him. 10 in 20 innings. He has given up 3 home runs, and he faces John Buck with DeJesus at first, 1 out in the 8th. That pitch from Betancourt has given John Buck fits. And the next hit that John Buck gets against Rafael Betancourt will be his first.
That's a pretty nice slider. You know, first pitch right out of the chute, right out of the bullpen. A lot of hitters looking to throw that first pitch fastball. He also has a nice split finger for his out pitch when he gets a hit.
The Indians just scored 2 in the top of the 8th to lead for the first time tonight, and you think that might suck some of the life out of this ballpark, but the Royals coming right back. Jose Guillen with a single. Mark Tien's ground out got him to second. David DeJesus getting Guillen to the plate. And now DeJesus perhaps an extra base hit away from tying the game. Late on the fastball. Vin Scully, who I grew up listening to, used to describe Bob Gibson, who worked fast, as saying Bob Gibson pitches like he's double parked somewhere. Rafael Betancourt pitches like he has the best spot at the mall. Two and 2.
That John really has to kind of stay under control. Don't try to overswing here. Just try to get him a pitch he can put in play. And he's really been trying to pound the fastball away. And the first pitch was a slider, so it wouldn't be a bad pitch to go back to and look for the slider right here.
Three balls, 2 strikes. Betancourt had a great year 2 years ago. 1.48 ERA. He only gave up 9 walks all season. But then he fell back last year. The Indians' bullpen troubles this year actually began last year, and Betancourt's ERA went up over 5. Walks and home runs went way up.
It'll be interesting to see if David will be running here. He has no stolen bases yet. One of those situations where the manager's got to feel like the hitter can put the ball in play, and if he doesn't put it in play, the chance of a strikeout double play is pretty huge right here.
And David really didn't appear to have much of a threatening lead over at first. that's what Betancourt's thinking. So whether he's running or not, at least Betancourt is not thinking 100% about John Buck.
Well, he wants to make sure that David doesn't get a great jump if he does go, and you don't want to give away that cheap run on a ground ball by making a poor pitch. He's going to make sure he makes a good pitch right here, but he wants to make sure David also doesn't get a good jump on him.
David leaning towards second. He's running, and Buck fouls it away.
When you're running 3-2, you really put the pressure on the hitter, especially when you're running a guy that's not really what's considered a base stealer. So the pressure is really on John Buck to put the ball in play here.
Running again. Buck takes ball 4, and the tying run is in scoring position. So Betancourt's walk troubles continue. And 2 on 1 out for Aviles. Singled, scored on a wild pitch back in the 4th inning. He also mishandled a double play in the 7th that eliminated the chance for the Royals to get out of the inning still with the lead. Instead, the Indians tied it, so a chance to redeem himself here in the 8th.
Yeah, this would be huge for Mike and for the ball club.
Ball 1. More success for Betancourt, or versus Betancourt, for Aviles than John Buck. Well, the Indians might get out of this inning, who knows, but you can see right here why the Indians bullpen has had such a bad time. Good swing. Right on a fastball at 93, just didn't square it up.
Yeah, the walks is what kills you coming out of the bullpen. You have to come out of the bullpen throwing strikes, and you got to put balls in play. When you get free bases up and out of the bullpen, that means the game's either close, or you're giving away that tying run or the winning run, or you get a team back in the game by walking guys.
The Indians have given up the 2nd most walks in the American League, and they have walked 6 more tonight. None have scored yet. Late on the fastball. So Aviles maybe was looking for something other than the fastball after he timed the last one perfectly.
Well, right now you just got to look for the ball and just try to shorten the swing and put it in play.
And this is where Aviles received a lot of votes for Player of the Year last year. 2 strikes, shortening his swing, using the middle and the right side. Still 1-2. Aviles had missed 4 games in a row before tonight because of a tight right forearm, so his top hand and his throwing arm. Flied out in the 3rd, singled and scored in the 4th, flied out in the 6th. As DeJesus at second base, Buck at first, 1 out. Just missed outside.
Well, this is a tough pitch to really take right here. But, you know, with that forearm problem, maybe he said, I can't swing anything away, so I'm not going to go out there and get it, so I'm going to let it come to me.
Well, it wasn't a strike, but it kicked up a few butterflies.
That's just called good looking out right there.
Chased a pitch up and in, but he got a piece of it. times Mike Aviles will swing at some bad pitches and get himself out. Other times he'll swing at some bad pitches and get hits. I mean, he's a pretty good, when he's on, he's a pretty good bad ball hitter.
We just got to make sure he's hot. You know, he's still trying to get himself going, and when you know he's swinging the bat well, that's what you can expect.
Having a long at bat, and this is starting to look a lot like Mike Jacobs against Kerry Wood last night in the ninth.
He foul off the tough pitches and wait for the pitcher to make a mistake.
Jacobs ended up hitting a solo home run against Kerry Wood, and that got the 4-run rally started in the bottom of the ninth. Here in the eighth, Guillen singled, Tien grounded out, De Jesus singled home Guillen. Betancourt came on to walk Buck. And now another 2-2 on the way to Aviles. Got him. And that might have been the most hittable pitch of the pitch sequence.
Well, that was right there for him. He just swung right through it. And that was a pitch he didn't have to reach for. It was middle in, and just swung right through the ball. Just a four-seamer right there on the inside half of the plate.
Coco's had a good night. 2 singles, a walk, a run scored. Strike one at 95.
Coco's really taking some good swings tonight. He's really made an effort to be patient at the plate, and he also made an effort to slap the ball to the left side. It means he's not trying to overswing. So the way to get to that 95-mile-an-hour fastball is really shorten your swing and shorten the field in half and stay on that left side of the infield.
That fastball with some movement tailing away from Coco. It's 0-2. Royals have scored 3 of their 5 runs tonight with 2 outs. 1-2. De Jesus down at second base. Made it a 1-run game with his RBI single, Buck at first. And Betancourt gets out of it. The Royals get 1, and we go to the 9th, 6-5 Cleveland. Of hearty soups, hand-tossed salads, inventive sandwiches, and savory breakfast items. Panera Bread, where every detail matters. There's KU football coach Mark Mangino, who Bob Davis has told me is a big baseball fan and might be a Cleveland Indians fan growing up in Ohio, although I'm sure he's rooting for the Royals tonight, sitting in between a couple of guys with KC hats on. Going to a bowl game the last 2 years. That great season 2 years ago, beating Virginia Tech in the Orange Bowl, and then beating up on my poor Minnesota Gophers this past year at the Fiesta Bowl. And our producer Kevin Shank, who's a KU grad and a big Jayhawk fan, saying that many people are picking the Hawks to win the Big 12 North this year. So he's taken that program a long way.
It's really fun to see too. I mean, my son's a KU grad, and when KU's doing anything, basketball or football, he doesn't even answer the phone. I call him just to irritate him.
That's out of play. Well, both sides of the state line, what Gary Pinkel has done at MU. I mean, that KU-MU game really means something and drawn some enormous crowds on the other side of the parking lot.
Well, it's nice that it means something in football now. It's basketball forever, but now that it's football, it makes it even more special.
The Royals will be seeing Kerry Wood again in the ninth unless Cleveland rallies here in the top of the ninth, as Drupal Cabrera drawing a bases loaded walk in the seventh inning, and that allowed the Indians to tie it when they got two in the seventh on a couple of runs that the Royals handed to the Indians. The bases loaded walk from Jamie Wright to Cabrera, and then the double play that wasn't turned off the bat of Grady Sizemore. Royals also had a tough break earlier in the inning when Jamie Carroll was awarded first base. When Darrell Cousins said he was hit by a pitch, it appeared to hit the bat. It's a tough call for the home plate umpire, but can't make an excuse for the 4-pitch walk and the double play that wasn't turned. David DeJesus waiting on it. Cabrera's the first out of the ninth inning. Final game of this series in the homestand is tomorrow at 1:10. Zach Greinke hoping to improve his record to 8-1. He'll pitch against Carl Pavano. So 1:10 first pitch. Royals Live begins at 12:30 here on Fox Sports Kansas City, and tomorrow's game is in HD. So you can either come to the game and watch it in HD in person, or you can watch it on HD at home or in the office. I have a feeling there's going to be a few folks tomorrow. They're going to find a reason to leave the office at about lunchtime tomorrow.
That's going to be fun. Everybody's looking forward to that game tomorrow.
Grady Sizemore is still struggling. He's hitting .210, 0 for 4 tonight, but Sidney Ponson facing him with the bases loaded and one out in the seventh inning. Sizemore hit a sharp ground ball to Alberto Callaspo, who leaned to get his glove on it, to Aviles for the out at second. Then Aviles lost the grip of the ball and no double play, and Sizemore got an RBI. He's down in the count 1-2.
You know, when you talk about double plays, you can't anticipate a double play. I agree if you handle the ball cleanly. If the ball at the bag is handled cleanly by the middle infielder, he gets off a good throw to first, the guy beats that, fine. But when you mishandle like that, even though the umpire gives you the out at second, to me that's got to go under a mental mistake, because you didn't make the transfer in order to make a good throw to first base.
And after all, this is the big leagues. I mean, this is the highest level of baseball in the universe, at least our universe, our galaxy. So, I mean, there are double plays that should be assumed. Sizemore is 0 for 5 and now 0 for his last 17.
Well, this is the first real time he's ever struggled, and you know, they moved him to the DH spot to try to take a little pressure off it from a mental standpoint, and maybe tomorrow, maybe just sit down and watch the game and just kind of relax tomorrow, and maybe that will get you going. But you can take all the batting practice, but you got to make some kind of adjustment mentally to come out of what you're in.
Now, we haven't heard if there's another reason why he's the DH, you know, if he has a sore hamstring or something like that, and that might be the case, but I would think you're putting more pressure on him, making him the DH, because he has no other way to help the team tonight. And when he's struggling, he's got all that time to just stew in between at bats.
Either that or you go back in the batting cage and beat up some more baseballs back there. That would be the only way you can let it out. But I agree. If you can go out there and make a nice play and on defense and help your ball club, that does give you a little mental confidence when coming back at the end of the day. If you don't have the hit, you can help your team on defense.
That swing is going to make our list.
Well, that's that three-finger changeup, and that one actually cut in. Most of them kind of go down and away.
That's on the list, isn't it?
That's on the list.
I mean, he's hitting .396, so no offense to Victor Martinez, but that made the list of some of the worst swings we've seen this year. That'll also make the list as one of the better swings we've seen this year. He's been doing that all year. So Martinez has his batting average right back to 400, going 2 for 5 tonight. And now Shin-Soo Choo.
Well, this is what you call hitting through the shift right here. You got Alberto Caspel's way out there in right field, and the ball just kept hooking away, and he just kept tracking it but didn't quite get to it.
Shin-Soo Choo, 2 hits, a walk, an RBI, and a run scored. In the bottom of the 9th, Callaspo, Butler, Jacobs. If anybody gets on Guillen, it's 1-1 on Choo, who is from South Korea and originally signed with the Seattle Mariners. The Indians have gotten a couple of good players from the Mariners, Shin-Soo Choo and Asdrubal Cabrera. Shin-Soo Choo was signed by Jim Colburn, who for years was the Mariners' Pacific Rim scout. Jim Colburn, former Royals pitcher, threw a no-hitter. He was an outstanding pitcher in high school. And when he was first signed by the Mariners, it wasn't until his first official workout that he realized he was going to be an outfielder. He was prepared to take off with the pitchers because he was so good, going in the mid-90s. The Mariners decided to make him an outfielder, and now he's a starter with the Cleveland Indians. Three balls, 2 strikes. So Butler will back up over at first base, give him a little more room, a little more range on the right side, with Martinez taking off on this 3-2. A walk. So Choo walks for the 2nd time tonight and the 28th time this year, and 2 on for Johnny Peralta.
We've seen a lot of just missed pitches tonight. Guys have got great eyes tonight to take those pitches with 2 strikes.
Now Bob McClure wants to visit with Tejeda. Make sure this inning doesn't get away. And the Royals would like to keep it right here. And it appears they're going to get another crack at Kerry Wood, who has finished warming up in the bullpen and is going to sit down for a while. Royals getting 4 in the bottom of the 9th against him last night, so they did it the hard way last night. Tonight, if they were to come back in the bottom of the 9th, they would need only 1 run, and they have the meat part of the batting order coming up.
Well, that's pretty much all you can ask for in the 9th inning, is have your best hitters at the plate in a close game and give yourself a chance to win it. You know, Bob McClure was on the mound, and he spent more time talking to John Buck than he did to Tejeda, so he's probably trying to find out whether the pitch was on the plate or not.
It's been a tough night for the bullpen. Gil Mesh went 6 innings and gave up 2 runs, 6 hits, and he left with a 4-2 lead. Jamie Wright gave up 2 in a third of an inning. Sidney Ponson 2 in an inning and a third. And now Tejeda trying to keep the Indians right here. Grounded hard to Tien. He'll go down to second, and that's the inning. So can the Royals do it again tonight? Well, Mike Jacobs will come to the plate along with sports bar in right field, hoping for a rally first, and then Boulevard Royals Live with Joel Goldberg and Jamie Quirk. And the Royals come back again. Tough night for Gil Mesh. Good night on the mound, doesn't get a decision. Highlights, interviews from the field, brought to you by Boulevard Brewing Company, Kansas City's beer. So Kerry Wood, who gave up 4 runs in 2/3 of an inning, he shaved, so a cleaner cut. Kerry Wood getting rid of his long goatee. When Mike Jacobs wasn't swinging the bat the way he liked, he shaved off his facial hair. An 8.31 ERA. Iaspo first. Fastball at 96. Alberto, a walk and a single tonight, a run scored. 1 for 3. Alberto not part of the rally last night. He has faced Kerry Wood once and is 0 for 1. almost put the tying run on base.
Well, it's amazing he was able to get out of the way of that pitch. I mean, he just drove this in at the hip, and Burt just he was just lucky that one didn't nick him somewhere on the leg.
3-1.
Everybody would say, why didn't he just let it hit him?
Well, because Callaspo doesn't want to lose his right leg. Leadoff walk. Willie Bloomquist is already out of the dugout, so he's going to run for Callaspo at first base. And Eric Wedge doing everything he can to think positive, as Kerry Wood has got himself into a mess right away. Billy Butler was not part of the rally last night. Bloomquist was. It was his sac fly that won the game. Now he's going to try and score the tying run. Billy has faced Kerry Wood once before tonight. Wood struck him out. Now that was a pitch he did not have last night, and he admitted over the game that he was a one-pitch guy. And even when you're throwing 96, when big league hitters know it's coming, it's going to be a long night.
Well, especially if you can't spot it on the inner and outer half of the plate where you want it, just throw it where you want it. This situation here, Bloomquist has the ability to steal second base, and you're not going to ask Billy and Jake and Jose to bunt. So it'll be interesting to see how Trey Hillman handles this situation with Bloomquist at first base.
Not going, and Billy takes high. It's 2-0. Kerry Wood is really fighting himself. Victor Martinez, who is the emotional leader of this team, was the first to go to the mound. Of course, he's also a catcher, and he started behind the plate tonight. So he went over to encourage Kerry Wood, and now Eric Wedge and Kelly Shopik are out there.
One of the worst things that Kerry Wood can do right now is start aiming the ball, and then now you're going to throw the ball all over the place. You just got to get refocused on the catcher, and I'm sure Eric Wedge is saying, hey, let's just play catch. Let your stuff, throw your stuff right down the middle, let it play, and let's see what happens. But throw strikes.
There's the situation we talked about earlier. Billy still has to be looking for his pitch. And he got it, but, or at least he thought he got what he wanted. Going to fly out to Shin-Soo Choo. So Bloomquist at first, one out. And now Mike Jacobs, who got the Royals going last night with a one-out home run against Kerry Wood.
Well, he fouled out some tough pitches till he got the one he wanted, and it was a no-doubter about that one. As soon as he hit it, he just froze right there at the plate for a second to kind of admire it. Then he let it go around the bases. But I tell you what, when he hits them, they're hit.
Well, Jacobs has done some of his best work late in the game. Lays off a pitch a little bit high. Bloomquist runs, and Shopik lost the grip. Attempt to be quick with the transfer, he lost the grip. This is a bad night for transfers.
Well, Willie had a great jump, and then Shopik had a good pitch to throw. But I tell you, once you take your head away from that hand that you catch with, and you're trying to get the other hand in there, once you move that head, that transfer always gets messed up. You got to keep your head right there until the transfer is made, then look for the target that you're throwing to.
That pitch is a strike. You hear Mike Jacobs saying that's not a strike. He thought it was high. Of course, Jacobs is tall, so what would appear to be high to most guys is close to across the belt for Jacobs.
Well, plus he stands straight up too, and that gives the umpire a better look at the pitch he's going to call. And that appears to make the pitcher appear too high to him in that situation there.
Lays off the breaking ball. It's 3-1. So Kerry Wood has walked Alberto Callaspo. He fell behind Butler 2-0. And now he's fallen behind Jacobs 3-1. So you really can't say to yourself he's doing anything to help himself.
Well, he's trying everything tonight, the fastball, curveball, and slider. Last night was primary fastball.
Another walk. Cleveland Indians have walked 8 tonight. And now Mitch Meyer is going to run for Mike Jacobs. He represents the winning run. So good speed out there with Bloomquist at second and Meyer at first. Ball one. Jose Guillen grounded out against Kerry Wood last night. That started the inning. So it's a good start for Kerry Wood. Ball was hit hard, but it was out. And then the rally started with one away.
Well, Kerry Wood is really slow to the plate, so it wouldn't surprise me if the Royals might try a double steal.
Time had been called by the catcher Shopping. Well, they say you play for the tie at home and you play for the win on the road. So if you try a double steal here and Bloomquist is thrown out, you still have Meyer at second base and a chance to tie it with a Guillen base hit.
Right.
Not running. And it's 2-0. Boy, Kerry Wood is just asking for it. He has fallen behind everyone.
He's putting himself in a hitting count, but the one thing he's not doing is not throwing the ball down the middle of the plate. You know, he's either up on the outer half or up on the inner half.
Jose has driven in 3 in this series. 3-0. Kerry Wood is 1 pitch away from walking the bases loaded. Look at those numbers with runners in scoring position. There is help in the bullpen. Mark Teahen is on deck. Three and one. Well, Jose may not like the call, but you know he wants to swing the bat while he's up there.
All guys that drive in runs do, but he probably thought that pitch was high right there. He's pretty much a low ball hitter.
Kerry Wood has walked the bases loaded. This is what Mark Teahen did last night against Kerry Wood.
He got a first pitch fastball out over the plate and didn't try to pull it, just drove it into left center field.
That is the only pitch that Mark Teahen has ever seen against Kerry Wood. Tying run at third, winning run at second. This time Wood getting in on the hands of Teahen. after leaving one out over the plate last night.
They just took that 92-mile-an-hour fastball and just cut it right in on his hand.
That right there is the first time Kerry Wood has been ahead of a hitter in this inning. Nothing fancy there. 96. Teeing down quickly.
Looks like he's trying to keep him tied up and keep him extending his arms and trying to keep the ball in on him.
Kerry Wood has uncorked one wild pitch this year. You always consider that with the count 0-2 and a runner at third base. And he goes with the breaking ball, and Teehan is still alive. Alberto Callaspo walked. Bloomquist ran for him. Butler flied out. Bloomquist stole second. Jacobs walked. Meyer running for him. Guillen has walked. Got him looking.
That's probably the one pitch that Mark wasn't looking for right there. That's the best breaking ball he's thrown all night. That's a slider right down the middle of the plate.
And now David DeJesus, who has faced Kerry Wood twice, and he's working on the cycle. He's got a home run and a triple. Took a little off it.
Well, this is David last night with the big triple right here. He got a fastball out over the plate, drove it into right center field. The question would be whether he get a double or a triple, but he cruised into third base to put himself in position to win the game.
And it's 0-2. All of a sudden, Kerry Wood has all of his pitches working.
Well, he didn't have that breaking ball last night and didn't have it early in this inning, but he seemed to have found it on Mark Teehan.
Everyone's standing and expecting something to happen. Just foul. Cleveland Indians tonight, this is amazing, so far have walked 9 and none have scored. Wanted DeJesus to go up the ladder. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Kerry Wood has walked the bases loaded. He just got a big strikeout of Mark Teehan. Blew a 3-run lead last night, trying to hold on to a 1-run lead tonight. And it's 2-2, and DeJesus is thinking, man, why was I jumping back? Because he kind of jumped back and then tried to jump back in again.
It's a slider. Yeah, you can let those sliders hit you. That's okay.
Got him. So he hangs in there tonight. The Royals had him on the ropes again, but Kelly Shopik, Victor Martinez, and Eric Wedge offering encouragement and helping Kerry Wood get through a difficult 9th inning. The Royals had the bases loaded with 1 out. Kerry Wood's first 4 batters against him